Hi everybody, welcome to another segment of Classics with Christy. Thank you for joining me. Today I am going to be tackling a fairly large, almost overwhelming, nerd topic. Very, very classic, much classic, wow epicness. I'm going to be talking about Star Wars. I do want to preface this video by telling everybody that I was not raised with Star Wars. It wasn't one of my personal classics. However, once I started getting more into fandom reactions and broadening my nerd horizons, Star Wars is definitely something that you need to have in your nerd arsenal, in your nerd education. You have to have some sort of opinion about Star Wars. It's like part of the criteria. I watched all 6 movies within the last year for the first time, I would say. I had basically seen Star Wars 4 through 6 before I actually sat down and watched the original films, because it's been parodied, it's been referenced, like, it's basically just part of the culture. Like, Star Wars 4 through 6 has just kind of been engulfed into our culture and just incorporated in not every little thing, but a lot of stuff pays some sort of homage to Star Wars 4 through 6, I would say. So, since we're talking about these numbers, I asked a couple of my nerd friends when I decided that I was going to really sit down and make the effort to watch Star Wars all the way through, if I should watch them as by release date or chronological order. I don't know. Like, you guys are probably like, what the fuck were you thinking? You obviously watched 4 through 6 first, and then you watched 1 through 3 because the prequels and blah blah, that's just how it was done. Like, 4 through 6, original, classic, yeah, that's the best, #1, even though it's not #1, it's #4. See, I wasn't like that. I was kind of just like, what do I do? My boyfriend basically, like, I don't know if anybody watches NCIS, but he denozoed me. He, like, smacked me on the back of the head, and he was like, what are you thinking, girl? Obviously, you're gonna watch 4 through 6 first. And so I was like, okay, that's what I'll do. So I did. They were all really, really good. And like I said before, I had seen them without actually seeing them, because there isn't a way within our culture anymore to not know about Star Wars. Like, even if you haven't sat down and watched them. So I had seen a bunch of parodies and all of that kind of stuff before. The graphics left a little to be desired, and I know when they were released, and I know they did not have access to the CGI that they did to make the other movies that they're making now and to make 1 through 3. I get it. That's fine. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying, in this day and age, the graphics of 4 through 6 left a little to be desired. But if you love Star Wars enough, obviously you're able to look past that. That's totally fine. Respect. They're still fantastic movies. 1 through 3 I watched afterwards, and I do have to say that I enjoyed them more, purely because of the fact that I like answers more than I like questions. 4 through 6, like I said, those are the classics. Like, those are the originals. You know what I mean? You can't hate on them, and I'm not hating on them. I want to make that 100% perfectly clear. I love them. I just kind of like 1 through 3 a little bit better because you get all of the explanation. Like, you get to know who Ben Kenobi is. Like, oh my god, he's so great. He's such a great Jedi, seriously, and you get to see him in his prime. You get to see him kicking butt. You get to see him, like, training cute little Annie to take over the universe, even though he didn't know that's what he was doing. I think I just like watching 1 through 3 because 1 through 3 is supposed to have happened before 4 through 6, obviously. And so it's like, all of this stuff that's happening in 1 through 3, you just feel like you have this extra insight about it. And you're just like, I know who Annie's gonna grow up to be. Like, he may look cute now, but he's definitely gonna be the Emperor of Darkness later. And then throughout the entire time, they're like, I don't know about him. Like, he might be a little too strong. We have to keep an eye on him, you know? And you're like, yeah, you better, because he's totally gonna murder everybody, including the younglings. Ha! I don't know how to explain why that line makes me so happy, but I feel like it's just because of the delivery. Like, it was just so cheesy. Like how they said it in the movies, not the younglings, oh god. It's just so over dramatic that it made it funny. Well, running joke in fandom reactions, not the younglings.
That's like my favorite line.
It's just, I don't know why it's so funny, because the content, like the context, it's not funny. He's murdering children! He slaughtered a room full of children!
But it's like so fucking funny.
But they were so over dramatic about it when it was delivered, and you can't take that kind of stuff back. Like, that's really what makes these movies classics, is that you can have long time inside just running jokes about them. So, I don't know. It's not a funny line. It's just funny how they said it, and you can't take that kind of stuff back. Once it's out there, it's there. I think that is why, in my heart of hearts, I like the prequels better than the originals. And that's kind of a sin for me to say it on Classics with Christi, because it's classics. Like, I should like 4 through 6 best, but it's just more fun. It's more fun for me watching 1 through 3, and I'm not gonna say that the CGI and that the look of them is the main reason that I like them better, but I do have to say it's a little bit hard for me to watch the 4 through 6 just because of how they were shot. And I know, I tell my brain, like, it doesn't matter, like, you shouldn't care, but I kind of do. I just notice it, and it's hard for me to not notice. They're just a little bit hard to watch, and just because they've been redone and parodied so many different times, our culture has kind of made them cliche, almost. I know that when they came out, it was fresh and new and great, and they're still great. They're still absolutely fantastic. The plot line, the character development, the twists. You did not know. If you didn't freaking grow up hearing people quote, "I am your father," it's like, that would have been the fucking most crazy reveal ever. Like, that would have been insane. You'd been like, what the fuck? Luke just totally made out with his sister, and I didn't know, and I was into it, and then I found out, and now I feel bad. But you do know. Like, if you're born at this point in time, or even in 1995, like, you grow up just knowing these things. Like, the world spoils them for you before you even know that it's a spoiler, and you're just like, oh, that's just a teensy bit disappointing, you know? Like, you don't really get the full impact of it. So, I don't know. My culture kind of ruined 4 through 6 for me just because so much hype. Just because of all of the hype about it. And I'm not calling it hype to be like, oh, they're overhyped, you know, like, they're great. They deserve all of the praise that they get, definitely. I don't know, it's just a little hard for me to really find them fresh anymore. So, I still love them. I still absolutely love them. I like watching 1 through 3 because it's fun, and you can be like, oh shit, I know all the twists and turns, like, I know Palpatine isn't really the senator, I know he's evil, like, he's totally gonna betray them, oh my god! It's just fun to watch it, and I feel like there's a teensy bit more action in 1 through 3 as well. They show you more of the Jedi, you know? They show you more of the Jedi, they show you more of the Sith. You really get a taste for what the Force can do. They didn't really build up to it. They were just like, the Force, the Force, the Force. Like, trust in the Force. It's super powerful, like, and you're super powerful because you have all these midichlorians that we're not going to explain anything about, like, we're just going to move on. And it's like, no, wait, I need to know about that. And then in 1 through 3, you're like, yes, I know everything now. 4 through 6 is more like, trust in the Force, and you're like, but why? And then 1 through 3 is like, this is why, because it's great. Look at all these people. And now, I kind of want to talk a little bit about the newer Star Wars that are coming out, even though they're not, like, classics. I feel like they just get grandfathered into the classic line of Star Wars. The Force Awakens... I don't want to say that they just remade A New Hope, because they didn't. But at the beginning, you're like, oh look, orphan out in the desert, found by a robot.